It took some convincing, but I got the mercenary's name and a few biographical details. Are you ready?
The lieutenant leans in to listen, notebook in hand.
That suit of armor was issued to an Oranese citizen named Ellis Kortenaer. That's E-L-L-I-S Kortenaer. Exact date of birth, unknown. He was signed into the Lelystad County Neonatal Care Unit on 28th of February, 09. He was found as a newborn in a leaf compactor near an abandoned farm. He spent 4 months in the neonatal unit, survived apparently, and was assigned to a foster family at 2.
According to Klasia, Lele said his real name wasn't really his. Perhaps that's because he was fostered.
This is what the ICP knows about him. He was raised by foster parents, entered the Eastbrand Military Academy in Vredefort at 17, then served in the Oranese forces till he was honorably discharged in 41, just a year before the Seminese conflict. Then the armor followed him to Seminine, or at least I assume it did. And that's it. There are no records of his employment in Crenel, or any of its other incarnations, or him even entering Revachol. It's a garden tool used to press leaves into these cubes. It's a detail the hospital had, the only detail in these files. So I thought it would be good for you to know.
It is. Thank you, Alice.
None, officer. Sorry.
Even that is a small miracle. These organizations usually double-check their inventory. Thank you, Alice. Great work.
No problem, Lieutenant.
A compliment from Lieutenant Kitsuragi. Not bad.
A name. This is very good. Ellis Kortenaer.
This means something to him. To know that name. Like naming a case. It's important. Sometimes police work is about human dignity. About giving back names to anonymous victims.
I'm glad the inquiry was helpful to your investigation, officer. Did you have any other questions? 57's over and out.
Thank you for doing that, dear.
An acorn is not the same as the tree. That requires time, diligence, and care.
You too, sweetie. Thank you for everything, truly. Even though it turned out to be
A waste of time. A dream. A lie. A fool's hope. Say her lips moving in silence. Like that, she drives off. The gas engine putters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, it's snowing.
We should go to...
Somewhere out there, a kilometer to the southeast, a gust of wind shakes the felled building, rattling dusty windows, beckoning with strange coldness, to ask the wind once more.
I'm glad to hear it, Detective. I was wondering when we'd get to this very subject. If you ask me, it's high time for you to set aside these frivolous side tasks and focus 100% of your energies on the case before us. Why are you pronouncing it like that gentleman from the Institute of Price Stabilité? You know what? Forget it. What specifically are you trying to assign responsibility for? Now I understand. Next, I suppose you're going to tell me you need to form a committee to assign this responsibility? Simple. Because moral intern types love to form committees.
Searchlight Division. You've sharpened your senses by being on the lookout for missing persons. Now you notice more of what's happening around you. Perhaps, when you're done with this case, you can join the Searchlight Division of the RCM and find every Revacholian that's ever gone missing without a trace. There is undoubtedly a backlog of such cases, because you never know. A missing person could be just around the edge, barely out of sight. As you approach, the man turns and greets you with a polite wave. He appears completely at ease, like a common holidaymaker.
Ah, super. It's the officer. I was not expecting to run into you again, but things have a funny way of turning out, no?
Damn that girl.
And without anger, a long and harsh life has taught her not to buckle under pressure.
But you didn't put it there, did you? She did.
Gone and hid things in there? She's usually a good tenant, and not a stupid one either. Yes, I let my room to that Ruby girl. Are you sure you'd rather stay here? Get a nice cozy fire going in the heater? Seems like a better idea to me.
No, you can do it. You still have plenty of juice in you before you drop. Behind the cinder block houses, old pre-war ruins rise to the sky like dark palaces. The wind calls.
Trying to get in line with the big bad, are ya? Those are some serious frequencies you want to mess with.
Come on, Noid. I think we owe him.
Asel's right. He's one of us now. Yeah, alright. But if you're going to sync up with them, you're gonna need a serious wave generator of your own. You understand what I'm saying? Not likely. Scoped that spot a while back. It's short-wave stuff, mostly commercial. Plus, it's all rusted out.
Build it ourselves! We built this nightclub, we can build anything!
Yeah, maybe. Tech-wise, radio's not the spookiest thing around. Our part's finding an antenna big enough to align with those mega-low frequencies.
An antenna hardcore enough to shake the whole world!
Maybe not that big, but pretty big.
Close your eyes. Unfold your mental map of Martinez. It's morning. You're standing on the plaza before the whirling in rags. You turn around. The morning sun is blinding. You bring your hand to your brow, and a great shadow materializes before you. A towering beast, frozen in mid-air.
Centaur Man is made of metal. With the right gear, we could make it work.
Yeah! Connect the Centaur to the lorries! Unite the whole roundabout in hardcore waves!
Huh? Sounds like Egg saying you could use some of the spare cables to rig up the stalled motor lorries and increase the wavelength. Which would pretty much make the old roundabout one giant antenna.
One roundabout! One wavelength! Hardcore!
Pretty hardcore. Maybe it would be better to go with something more positive.
We have the amps! We have the cables! We're almost ready! Yeah!
He's right. All we're missing now is the transceiver itself. Soon as you find one, we'll be all set. Exactly. You could buy one. You could steal one.
And before you ask, no, you can't have the radio for my kinema. I highly doubt that. When I crank the volume on my dyno wave, it's like you're in the front row at the National Concert Hall.
A cop-on-cop challenge. Not bad. Let's see what you come up with. Though I have to say, cop cars and lorries usually pack the best equipment in town.
You won't regret it, officer. Whatever you need, the Model 9 can handle.
The lieutenant watches you take the transceiver with barely disguised envy.
Not at all, Detective. A Kristallsprach is a fine piece of equipment, but I'm quite satisfied with my Dynawave.
Oh, he's totally jealous. He can barely hold it in. A common office radio, like any of those found in countless waiting rooms, lounges, and other semi-public spaces all over the world. It takes a few moments, but eventually the transceiver slides from its greased socket mount with an eminently satisfying chim.
All right. I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands, I'll take the legs.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
You think she really needs more of that after a man died at sea? What if I told you it is actually possible to go on a date sober? Before recorded history, men and women were able to do simple, very primitive things together sober. Acknowledge the situation and keep it basic.
I have, and I don't really.
Now, go for it. You just want to go for a walk. What kind of a monster doesn't want to go for a walk? Walks are innocent.
Just a walk? I don't know, officer. I would not have taken you for an innocent perambulator. Where would this walk take us, officer?
Nothing creepy, strange, or out there. Keep it airy and simple.
All right, I will walk with you. But you need to understand that nothing is going to happen. We're just walking. Yes, someone could get pushed in the water. Maybe even get laughed at. But I'm sure that's not going to happen. Stroll on the beach sounds nice. All right, I guess I'll be seeing you at Land's End in the evening, when it gets dark, all right?
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready. There's something feral crouched between the rocks. Something primal, something forbidden. There, by the water. Intriguing. You finally made it, haven't you? People point fingers at you and whisper to each other when you pass by, wondering to themselves, where did that man get such a cool jacket? Did he receive it upon graduating the École Normale Supérieure de Badasserie? Is he dangerous? You are very dangerous, my friend. Dangerous and cool. In fact, no one dares to say a single thing about the jacket. But believe me, they are all very impressed. The woman gazes steadily at the waves. A sudden gust picks up her dark hair and lets it fall again, tousled, wild. She brushes a few stray locks from her eyes and only then spots you approaching.
Aye, so here you are. I'm a bit surprised we're alone. It's mid-noon and the sun is out. I expected more drunks and teenagers. And drunk teenagers. Know that you're not the first guy to bring a girl to Land's End. This is what the locals call a make-out spot. That is not going to happen here today. I just want to make that clear, Dimples.
Across the rusty water, that's La Delta, the financial district. In the mist-covered distance, towers rise as a rebuke to the poverty of this coast.
Drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments. Aye, you're the starriest of them all.
Her laughter is throaty and warm. It rhymes with the waves and the cries of the gulls. As she turns to face the sun, reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay, you cannot help following her steady gaze. You should say something, anything, maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Ravisholian expression. Means drinking yourself to death. Oh, indeed. And what about you? Keeping the name? Well then, Detective Cousteau.
The sun reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay is mesmerizing. Your mind clears for a moment as your senses take it all in. Not just the glass skyscrapers, fragile looking in the shimmering air. River Esperance flowing into the bay.
Isn't it strange for this all-powerful thing, the sun, to be so generous towards us? You know, the best time to go out fishing is usually towards sunset, when the water is warmer.
The sun also falls on the Capeside tenements and war-torn ruins. An old sea fortress juts out, seemingly impervious to the sheen cast over everything else, shaking you out of your reverie. The sun does little for the dead, and those hopelessly lost in their own minds. Or people living in desert climates with sparse vegetation and little drinking water.
Oh, that was a bit of pride and a bit of superstition.
And a bit of conceptual unity too, it being yellow and all. There's salt in the air, and the cries of the gulls and the skuas. grit of the sand and the green glint of broken bottles. But still your gaze always returns to the dazzling streaks of light, wherever they may be reflected, their opulence.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side, no matter what we do or who we are, for absolutely no reason. It's unlike no other powerful being, certainly no powerful organisation or government. How can that be? I guess we wouldn't really be here if that thing wasn't on our team. These aren't real fishhooks, silly. They're earrings shaped to look like fishhooks. A drunk called Rosemary brought them to me. I kept them.
She's right. They're made mostly of plastic. A cheap novelty gift you can buy from a flower shop or a kiosk. The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the sunlit coast across the water.
Thank you. I'm half Ubi. My mother was from Ubi Sunt. Not a lot of sun there, I hear, though I've never been.
The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the sunlit coast across the water.
I always do. I like it. It's like being on another planet, a water planet, with water worries and water joys.
The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the sunlit coast across the water. Here we go. 2 different approaches to cap this off with style.
Aye. And a benevolent one. When did you last have one of those on your side? Well, maybe it's that god that makes all those atoms burn up there in that big thing. You know, the wind's going to pick up soon, and I have to go, but... Have this. The sun's good, but it doesn't stick things. I've no use for it anymore. No. Men around here are too drunk to pose a threat to me. Doubt it. But thank you for the company.
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between you and your last drink for anything more.
Farewell.
As she walks off, the wind picks up, and the light from the sun seems to fade. The crumbling silhouette of failed electrical R&D towers in the distance, beckoning.
Ah, yes. The night before I saw you in the hallway and reminded you're a police officer.
The date of your re-entry into the fossil record.
Wow. Elysium. You don't hear that term often.
She's a glib girl, but she liked the wording.
There was the usual ruckus. Loud disco music. I can't say. Probably not. Sounded like you were flying solo. Oh, yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestrations prime among them.
Oh, that? Yeah. Whoa. The less said about OO, the better.
Oh, were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course, like 7. Life gets hard, but we go on.
Then, doesn't life get hard because we go on?
I think you might have come to the same conclusion last night. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped, and there was a change of pace. A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of that time you were yelling along to it. Yes, there was a church in there, a really small church, like the smallest, saddest church in the whole world. It was about that. And also that it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now. It was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a wounded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it. Yes, it was very cool.
It's impossible to say whether she's being sarcastic or really means it.
Then you started screaming and trashed the place. A window was smashed, the tape player probably, the song stopped. And furniture too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable. I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then, around 4 or 5, and that was it. No problem, sir.
Something cracks inside. It is an unbelievably satisfying sound.
Nice.
Filling you with a belief in your own body.
I think the bracket's broke inside. I've always wanted to know what's in there.
She sounds genuinely curious. You can almost see the shape of a man and a woman writhing inside, bathed in drug sweat and dirty linens. Bottles lie around everywhere. You lean closer to the peephole instinctively. I bet they're doing something quite unnatural there. Sensationally unnatural.
I see you haven't left our little Martinez yet. Still running around. Like some kind of cross-country law official. Aye, but don't let it grow too much. This is not the place to settle down. Now, what's on your mind, officer?
Whatever she says, it can't hurt you. You're a different person now. Stronger, healthier, and... Alright, maybe not healthier, but it's a bonus that you've drunk so hard you can't remember any of your past relationships. Oblivion's the ace in your corner. No one replies, but the static grows stronger, like rainfall. Then a female voice speaks out, completely different from the one before. Glorious and total somehow, crawling inside your head.
For 300 years I have been here, volatile and luminous, made of sodium and rain. If you want me, you can find me on the beach. Donnerstag ball.
The strange and alien thought pattern ends. You're left staring at the electronic doorbell. You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here.
Excuse me, what are you doing? And what technique is that? Officer, this isn't how mature adults deal with their feelings.
Now you feel something. The cold damp of shame washing over you.
The air pressure told you to take your pants off in my studio?
This is not going very well, is it, word-wise?
Can you please employ this special technique somewhere else? I work here and my work requires concentration. Half-naked people don't help with that. Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a dye?
A gust of cold air sweeps through the chimney.
That's why people like role-playing games. You can be whoever you want to be, you can try again. Still, there is something inherently violent even about dice rolls. It's like every time you cast a die, something disappears. Some alternative ending, or an entirely different world. But anyway, thanks for sharing your theories, officer.